Hey, before we get to the show, I want to do a quick shout out and a thank you to Kravit Inc. for sponsoring the podcast. I want you to know that it's time to discover luxury for less with Kravit Furniture's popular upholstery trio, the Jazz, Porter, and Taylor. Now, with improved pricing and faster production times, these stylish frames are available with a 6-week turnaround. Can you imagine furniture in 6 weeks? Kravit's exceptional service combined with great pricing makes them the perfect choice for your next interior design project. Go to kravit.com to learn more and sign up for your design trade account today. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today, I am excited to welcome the delightful Margalit Lankry to the show. Margalit is a working interior designer with over 26 years of experience. She's also the leader and founder of something truly special, a group called Designers with Intention. This community of nearly 300 female interior designers led by Margalit has created something that is so refreshing to see in the industry: genuine collaboration over competition. I've had the privilege of speaking at her events a couple of times and also of getting to know these women personally. It's incredible the way each of them has such drive and are so committed to building good, profitable businesses, but maintaining the North Star on family and values while they do it. It's not an either or with any of these women. And when I look at a group of business women who are across the board achieving success, I know it starts at the top down with Margalit's leadership. The joy in leading this group just pours out of her. What started as Margalit's personal moment of honesty, questioning why other designers were getting projects she wasn't, then transformed into a movement that proves there really is enough work for all of us when we choose abundance over scarcity. These women, many of whom could be bidding on the same projects, have instead become friends who celebrate each other's wins and share actual, true business advice with each other. Today, Margalit is here to talk about how she built this community from a simple WhatsApp chat and how finding the right people is essential to running a successful business. You'll also hear about Margalit's recent wake-up call and why she reminded herself design work itself is not just the business of design, but it remains at the heart of everything she does. And speaking of delivering excellence to your clients, if you're tired of juggling vendor accounts and managing separate orders, Design Trade Service consolidates your sourcing and logistics into one seamless solution. With 24/7 access to leading brands and unmatched customer support, they help you save time and deliver excellence to your clients. Start for free. Join for free. Go to designtradeservice.com/Luann. Okay, now let's hear from Margalit about community, intention, and the power of choosing collaboration. Hey, Margalit, thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Hey, Luann, I'm so excited to be here.
I am too, because lady, this is a long time coming, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It is. And I just, in the introduction, I explained how you are the leader of a group of designers called Designers with Intention. And I just have to tell you that when I think of the many faces. So I know a lot of the members of your group because I've been thankfully and appreciative of you inviting me 2 different times over the last 5 years to speak at your events. I know a lot of these women up close and personal, and these are women that are literally working hard to make their businesses profitable. They're not phoning it in, they're not making excuses or rationalizing. And when I look over a group of business women that are across the board achieving a lot of success, I know it starts top down. I know that as the leader, you are modeling this behavior. You're talking about the things that are important in running a business. And also, each of you have, families, 2, 3, 5, 6 kids. This is, I
Yes.
mean, it's incredible the way you each have such drive and are so committed to building good, profitable businesses, but maintain that North Star on family and values. And I know it comes from you, Margalit. I've watched you in action. I've watched you
Aw,
talk with them and be with them. So it's called Designers with Intention. I
yeah.
gotta believe there's a lot of things that happen behind that word
Intention behind
intention.
it.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I say, I definitely was the one who started it and put it together, but we would be nowhere without these amazing, amazing women who are so open to sharing and giving themselves. So, yes, I might call myself the leader of the group, but really it's a great group of women that I really, if not for them, we would be nothing.
Yeah, it's incredible. So the thing is, where do you want to take the conversation today, Margalit? Do you want to take the conversation to talking about the group and the different, your philosophy behind the way you support the designers and the way it's impacted your business and the way you look at the outlook on that? Do you want to take it in, the way what you learned there you'd use in your design firm? Like, because I just feel like there's so many different ways I could take the
Right.
conversation with you.
Right. So there really is. So me as a working designer, um, if I wasn't a designer, I wouldn't be able to do this whole movement, I feel, because I'm still one of everybody else and I'm still creating beautiful spaces and I'm still impacting people's lives. And because I do that, I'm able to really, really connect with designers on their level. And the inspiration that we create in our get-togethers and our groups and our daily chats really comes from being in the industry
Mm,
and working in the world. So I can't say, well, I could be one without the other.
mm.
And sometimes I wonder when I do a lot, and as someone like you who knows what it means to do too much sometimes, we wonder, like, should we give something up? But my design really is my passion. It really, really fuels me. And I wouldn't want to be one without the other. I might
Mm.
want to be smarter in my choices. I might want to not take on every single project that comes my way. I keep saying I'm going to be super selective and I'm going to figure out how to have a better balance and I'm going to have a life and I'm going to have time to send out my postcards and I'm going to manage better. But my design is really my passion.
Mm.
And when someone finds their passion and they're able to tap into it, they're so much more of a happy person. And it's such a gift to be able to use that in this world. So, I could go both ways, but they sort of overlap.
Yeah, yeah,
And being a designer is important. I don't want to like disregard that
right.
because I do love that and it has saved me. I'm going to use that word for real, that it has saved me so much in my life. And if there's someone who's been in the industry for over 26 years, if I could give messages over to people or young people who are starting out, that when you find your passion and you're able to work in it, it's going to enhance your life completely.
Mm.
And, over the years, since I'm not like a newbie, I've had challenges and struggles and things that were hard. And because I was able to have something that lights me up, it kind of got me through
Mm.
when life is hard or challenging. I'll give you a quick example. I remember a few years ago, I was working at a job in the Bronx. I was doing an office building and I drove far. And on my way home, somebody called me and I was talking to him on the phone. And she said, "Oh, did you notice today it was freezing and it was snowy and it was icy and it was so cold?" And I said, "It was? Oh, it was. Yeah. Oh, it was cold and icy and snowy." But I didn't focus on that.
Yeah,
So it's not like we're in denial with what our hardships are in life and things like that. But when you have something that makes you feel good
yeah,
and you could share it with the world and you make other people feel good, how could you not do it?
yeah. I mean, this is the thing about you. It just the joy comes pouring out of you. It's crazy.
Yes, yes. That's why sometimes I wonder, should I give up the design and focus more on the events and the people and the passion or just go sit on the beach sometimes? But how could I not share this with the world? You know?
So you're a designer for more than 26 years. How long ago did you start Designers with Intention?
Designers with Intention started about 6 years ago.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is, people ask me sometimes, where did it come from? Like, what made you come up with this idea and how did you start it?
Yeah.
And I like to be honest. And the honest thing is that I live in a town where there's a ton of new builds and construction and a lot of projects going on. And there happen to be a lot of designers around town. But I would drive by some of these big, huge things, projects that were going up in buildings, and I was like, how, like, why did they hire me, and why them over me? And I was wondering, like, and I've been doing this for so long, and how come I wasn't chosen? And then I stopped and I said, I don't really like myself. I don't like being that type of person. I don't like talking
Mm,
about myself that way. Why should I look at the other designers as if they're getting something that I'm not?
mm.
And I don't want to be negative. So I was like, what can I do with this feeling? And what can I do with this energy? And then I came up with this idea. What if I just like go into it and befriend them and face it head on? And when you get to know the person behind the
Yes.
name,
Yes.
a whole new world opens, because you know what happens? I'm happy for them. I'm
Right.
happy for them.
Right.
Let them have
Right.
the project. Let them
Yeah.
do the great building. And they're my friend. I'm happy for them. And you know what? They'll get that one, and I'll get the next one, and you'll get the next one. And there's enough for us all. And
Yes.
suddenly the whole world opened up, and it changed our attitude and changed my feeling. And when I started the chat, I was so nervous. I was like, how are these people going to take it? I was like, my hands were shaking. And I texted 10 people. I'm like, we all have so many chats, and I know you don't have to join if you don't want to, but this is my idea. What do you think? And then ding, 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 ding. Everybody joined, and everybody was so excited. And it grew and it grew, and everybody shares. And I'm in awe of the people, how open they are, because we really believe that we all get what's meant for us.
Right.
And when we become friends, I'm genuinely happy for them. We have literally people that we could be competing. I hate that word. We could be bidding on the same projects. Really. But you
Yeah.
know what? They're my friend, and I'm
Right.
happy for them.
Right.
And I'll get the next one.
Right.
So
Right.
that's kind of like what pushed and what motivated me to start.
That's so interesting, Margalit. And I appreciate your saying that that was the germ of the idea is that, there was a moment, and it's not even your personality to dwell in it for more
A
than a
moment,
moment.
right.
Yeah. Just,
Just a
I
moment.
know, I know you well enough to know it's a
Thank you.
moment, but that is also the evidence of your personality because it's a moment, but then you're like, no, what's the good in this moment? What's the other side of this? What is the other side of feeling a lack? The other side is abundance. The other side is gratitude. The other side is there's enough. And you literally took a thing that could be a negative and created. And, listen, we all know there are a gabillion gurus on the planet that have proven from the dawn of time, prophets and
Right.
everybody else, that when you live in gratitude, everything gets better. But, it's not a lot of business people that translate that and walk that walk. And I've watched you do it. It's
Mm,
remarkable.
thank you. That's right. And I appreciate you acknowledging that it was a moment. And I like to be honest, and I like to be real. It
Hmm.
was there. Then I try to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so the thing is, it started as a WhatsApp chat, right?
Correct. Yes.
10 designers, like you're over there doing business, I'm over here doing business. We've seen each other at this event. Do you want to do it? Just, get in this chat together. Now I think you're at like 300 or just
Yeah.
under
Just under
300.
300. We're
Yeah,
about under 300. And I've constantly people reach out all the time to join, because it's such an amazing, empowering movement.
yeah,
But the goal really is just to create unity
yeah,
and to empower each other. And it's just the most beautiful, amazing things. People that could be officially titled as competitors
yeah.
that are now friends.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because we have that experience with Exciting Windows. I don't know that you know anything about that business of mine, but my husband and I own a business called Exciting Windows, and it's a mentorship and business educational group for window treatment professionals.
Mm,
And there have been over the course of the years of this company, some window treatment professionals that are like, whoa, great. I'm glad that you're teaching me how to be profitable, but I don't really want you to let somebody in that's in the next town over from me or whatever. Meanwhile, so we have certain loose parameters, but like we've got people in New Jersey that are 20 minutes from us. We're like, come on in because
that's
we
right.
know there is enough. If there's not a chance that WindowWorks, one business in Livingston, New Jersey, would get every ounce of business in a 20-mile radius of our showroom. So what's
That's
the
right.
difference if the other person is there, right?
Right.
And we always feel like, and I know that you guys do this too in your group, it's the more that everybody levels up and behaves with professionalism and sets standards for the professionalism, the better you all do, right? So if you're educating a newer designer in your group of, please stop charging $40 an hour for your services,
Right.
right? Like
Right.
that's
Right.
better for everybody, right? If you
Right.
get like maybe a newbie wants to start at 85 or 100 and you might be at 300 with your 26 years experience. I'm just picking numbers out of my hat. But the point is that there's so much
That's right.
to go around, and if we can all do it better, then let's all do it better,
Right.
right?
And you really, really have to believe that.
Yeah.
And I also say another point to this is that we all have our own slight unique style.
Yes.
And what works for one doesn't work for the other. And that means the clients that need us and need to know us or appreciate us, they're going to find us and we're going to find them. So, you know, this project isn't right for me because it really isn't right for me because I love color and I love bold and I love unique and I like out of the box. Now, it doesn't mean I don't love calm and serene and minimalistic. I could do it, but I enjoy the projects that are more, exciting. So
Yeah.
the people who want exciting are naturally going to tend to come to me. And the people who want the very minimalistic or very modern and sleek, which is a beautiful design, I'm not putting it down, they will
Absolutely.
go to the designers who could do that.
Right.
So if you understand that and believe that, it just also helps with the whole concept of like, why not appreciate us all and share it all?
100%. Now, I know that you have the WhatsApp. I know
Yes.
that you do a live event. Is it once a year?
It's once a year. I could
Okay.
tell you that I do have goals. I'm going to
Okay.
share that. My intention, speaking of the word intention again, I had every intention this year to do it more often. I want to do a big yearly bash. And then I thought, like, why not do it on a smaller scale, like once every 2 months and just bring it in? Because I enjoy the events and I enjoy the connections and I enjoy the people seeing their faces light up so much. So I said, why not bring that into my life? And then, you know how they say you plan and God laughs, right? So this year I actually had an injury, which I mentioned at the event. In the winter, I had a infection in my foot that
Yeah.
went undiagnosed for a very long time
Oh,
until they finally found it. I had to have surgery. And recovering from surgery, my life shut down. I had to stop. And I couldn't walk and I couldn't drive. And if you remember this winter, it was icy and it was snowy. And I'm like, where
yes.
am I going? If I go to Target, I can't even walk. So what am I doing? And my life stopped. So my plans for this to further and to grow with this kind of stopped. But I have to take us to, one step further. When we talk about like balancing our lives better and slowing down, I'm wondering, are we doing too much? And should I continue the design practice if I really want to do the events? And I love our groups and I have more ideas, like a real entrepreneur brain, and I have ideas that I can't stop. And I say, come on, sometimes you have to like slow down and maybe you should stop the designing. Well, this winter when I couldn't go out and I couldn't walk and I couldn't drive, I was so sad. I was missing my design world. I couldn't work. I did a
Oh,
little bit on the computer, a little bit at home. I kept my projects going, but my joy was taken away from me. So yeah, we don't want to do too much, and we want to find balance, and we don't want to be running on a constant basis. But when you find the thing that you love and you can't do it, oh, that did not work for me. And I was so sad. So I know that I need to continue doing my design world and I need to continue. And I tell this to anyone. That's why if someone has a talent and someone has a desire to do something, if you have a passion for something, you got to go out there and you got to do it because it really
mm,
changes your life. Because you know what happened on those days? I sat and I saw how icy the roads were and I saw the snow falling and I was miserable. Where any other winter, I'm like, okay, it's
running
snowing and it's
around,
icy.
doing
I'm
it.
running around. Okay, I don't love it. I'm cold, but hey, I'll get cool gloves and keep going. So number one, it's so important to find your passion. It's not just to find it, to go out there and go after your dreams and do it.
Yeah,
Do it. I tell anyone, if you have something in you, even if I know this is a design podcast and mostly people who are interested in designing are going to hear this, but if you're someone who loves numbers or,
that's right.
loves whatever your thing is, go and do it. It's not enough to just say, oh, I have a talent. You got to go and take those steps, those actionable steps and make it happen.
Well, and what I love is it sounds like that prior to the surgery and the infection and so forth, you were sort of questioning, if my life is very busy, should I cut back on design or should I not lean into something else? And then when
Yes,
all of a sudden the universe was like, well, the design is going to have to cut back because you can't run around to tile shops and,
that's
stone
right.
yards and everything else. It was like, oh, that's not the
Uh-huh.
thing I want to cut back on.
Right.
Like
Like
that,
maybe it was sent as a lesson.
yes,
Maybe I needed to I couldn't figure it out. You should know it's one of the
exactly.
things I want. I
It's
couldn't
like
figure
a
out. Sometimes
takeaway.
Right.
In
Sometimes someone says,
sales, it's a takeaway. You take the thing away, and then all of a sudden the person knows darn well that they want it,
I
right?
do, I want it, but I don't
Yeah.
mind at a slower pace
Right, right, right. No,
if there's such a thing,
but
and
that's
be
just it,
selective.
right? Just
But
manage it as opposed to eliminate it, right?
correct, yeah,
It's funny because
because
I just interviewed Shay McGee, and I don't know if she's aired yet by the time your show airs, but she has worked her business model so that she could work her business model so that she's out of design. She's got enough arms in an empire now that she doesn't have to show up and design anything. But she knows, just like you learned, that that's the thing she loves to do. So she's just fashioned her business, and it's in the episode. You'll hear what it is, how she's tiered her business so that she's able to meet the demands of the public because she's Shay McGee, but also satisfy her own desire to stay in design, but at a level that's manageable for her life because she does have so many other ventures in her empire and, of course, the children and all the things. So,
and I love that you said that,
yeah,
because it's like you said, you must have felt it from me that it was something that I was questioning.
yeah,
Plus, people ask me all the time when I have so many projects, like, why don't you just hire more people and make a bigger firm, and just you could do this project and that project and run around and do so many things. And then I wonder, then I'm running a business,
yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
real
Big
business,
thing.
and then I'm not
Managing
being
people.
I'm managing people, and I'm managing deadlines, and I'm managing spreadsheets, and then you're taking away what I love. I really love designing, and I had to sometimes like reassess how I was running my business, and I changed it a little bit. I still want to do the design, and maybe I scaled down my team a little bit,
Yeah.
and I take on a little less and still get to do what I love. Why am I doing it if I can't love what
Right.
I do?
Right, right.
We have to
It's
remind
funny
ourselves.
because I remember Dwayne Bergman was on the show too, and he talked about how he built his firm up to a point that he realized now he wasn't designing, he was
That's
managing
right.
and overseeing. And so he intentionally re imagined and redesigned the way the firm ran so that he was still in touch with design because that was what was important to him. And I've interviewed many designers that want to build their company up to the point that they're literally just overseeing and not designing. But it really, we're talking about is your point, which is if you have the passion, make sure you are
Make
figuring out
sure
a
you
way to
do it.
work in it. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So
Exactly.
with the group, I know it's like beyond like, I don't even know how organized it has evolved to, or is it stayed like a chat that, like, do you have like the weekly message from Margalit, or is it just all organic designers talking and interacting, and what you need, you ask for, and somebody else helps you? How organized is the group other than the live meeting? You know what I mean?
Oh, what a question. What a question. Okay, so we have my intention, and then we have real life. So just like you mentioned on one of your shows a couple of Fridays ago, that you're like restructuring how you're going to be doing the podcast, and that you have so much great footage and messaging and so much you could share from previous episodes.
Yep.
So I had a lot of great ideas. There was so much that comes through in our chat and what people share and talk about, that I have so many ideas to build off of. But what happens is we tend to get busy.
Right, right,
And we
right.
tend to have projects, and we have to have deadlines, and then
Mm.
orders coming wrong, and then the client says, what do you mean you can't meet me this minute? The contract is waiting, they can't continue. And there goes my schedule, and there goes my week. So I
Right.
did have, actually, at one point in the beginning of the winter, to put out like a weekly message that would just like evoke a conversation and start it up. I actually prepared, I think, 100
Whoa.
points. I think I put out two. Because
Been
that's
there,
what
done
happens.
that.
Yep, I still have the plan to do it. Um, Also, like, my team kind of like restructured a couple of my like core people. One had a baby, one left for this reason, one schedule changed, and I didn't fully like fill in the gaps. So we're a much smaller team now, and I'm like, do I hire someone just to do that? So like, there's so much potential within it, but I need to be real. And real is that when you work and you also have a full time career on the side, not on the side, you have a full time career, this tends to like go a little bit to the wayside. So it's not super scheduled, and it's not super structured, and it's not super official. And then you know what? I think it's kind of what we love about it.
I think so too. And it's so funny because there's no reason for my outside observation in, and I've been kind of running alongside you guys for 5 of your 6 years, right?
Mhm.
Having a lot of interaction with your individual members throughout the years who I've coached, who comes to Window Works Lunch and Learns, who I just are might have become my friends and I see them at all the events and so forth. But what I think is there's no reason for, like, if I say, is there an official pattern to, like, do you post and do this? There's no, because what I know is the value is there and the designers are enjoying it and getting value and making strides in their business. And to learn that there is no specific structure just is the encapsulation of what you just said. It's kind of the way it's supposed to be. You know
Right.
what I mean? And
It
it's just,
stays genuine, it
yes.
stays real, and I think that's why everybody loves it,
Hmm.
because nobody feels like they're being recorded, nobody feels like their messages are being written down, it's gonna come back to haunt them one day.
Right.
Everyone just could speak from the
Or
heart,
it's a lesson. I got to show up and
right?
do a thing. It's like there's
Then they're
lessons in
showing
there.
off,
It
you know?
reminds me, like, I always use the Karate Kid and Mr. Miyagi as the example. It's
Mhm.
like Mr. Miyagi is teaching you by living and showing and doing chores. He's not like saying, hey, do this karate move 50 times. And so there is a time and a place, groups like Nancy Ganskoffer, Sandra Funk, there's a time and a place for organized, I'm going to show up and teach you a lesson. But this is almost like the Mr. Miyagi, way of
Exactly,
teaching you to run a business. It's just through real life and organic conversation and so forth, is the impression I
exactly.
get.
Yes, it is, and even
Yeah.
when we have the events, which I always try to bring in somebody amazing and a powerhouse, someone like you, to come in and speak because they always want has to be a draw, we all wanna, like, have something that we're taking away. The part of the event that people love the most is that first hour or 2 where they're just mingling and talking and eating. I
We
can't even get
couldn't
them
get them.
into the grand speech,
I was
right?
remember I was supposed to start at 8. I don't think I
Yeah,
started till 9. It was
yeah,
snowing out. We were all
that's
leaving at
right.
11 o'clock at night. There's 5 inches of snow
That's
outside.
right. Because it's the best part. So I think that's what makes this group so special. It's
Yeah,
like hanging out with your friends.
I
It's a
know.
peer, but it's your friend, and we're talking, and we're
Yeah.
catching up, and we're giving advice, and we're listening, and we
And
just
there
love
is a
it.
culture of safeness there. There's a
Mm,
culture of respect. There's a culture of genuine care and wanting to help. That's what I pick
mhm.
up every time that I'm
Yeah.
with
It
the women
amazes
in your
me.
group.
It
Yeah.
really amazes me every time. What special people. And I just want you to know, I know a few designers who are not on the group. And I've mentioned it to them. Isn't that interesting? And you know what? They felt a little threatened. And you know what?
Oh.
They're not for us and we're not for
Yeah, not
them. If
yeah.
that there are those people in the world, right? There's all
Yeah.
types of people in the world.
Yeah.
So you have to really be that type to be on this
Yeah.
group. And everybody really is. It's
Yeah.
real genuine and
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, it's funny because in June, and again, I don't know when this show is going to air, but in June, I'm going to be going to London
ooh,
to speak at the Business of Design Community Summit. And this is being organized by Rachel Usher, who is a designer in London, and Rick Campos, who's a designer here in the US and does the podcast Design Biz Survival Guide. But what happened is Rachel was listening to my show. She learned of Rick. Then, she also has a home in LA near Rick. And so when she started listening to Rick's podcast, and then Rick does a design biz retreat every year with like 25 or less designers,
mm,
she decided to go one year.
ooh,
And she told me the story of how she sat there in the audience. Here she is, a UK designer. She's in this retreat with 20, 25 other US based designers. And at one point Rick was leading a panel discussion, and this goes right to your culture. The 3 designers on the panel discussion were all from the same area of LA, and they were talking about how they were aware that they had all previously bid on the same project to do the project. And one of them got it, but the 3 of them, after the project was awarded, they talked about on the panel how they all got together at a coffee shop and pulled apart. How did you price that? How did you present that? Like literally side by side comparisons. And 2 things struck Rachel. The first thing that struck her was that 3 designers weren't actually that far apart in price. So to
mm,
your point, It's not
Mhm.
if you're $1 less an hour than me, it might be something that you said about your process that resonates with somebody, or something about the way you did your presentation that resonates with somebody, that you're not likely all the answer. You could have the exact same price and there's still going to be other deciding factors. And then the other thing that struck Rachel was she sat there and she said to me, that's not happening in the UK. We are not
Mm.
opening ourselves up like that. And
Wow.
she said, I listened to your show, I listened to Rick's show. And if she was in your WhatsApp group, she'd
That's
say the
right.
same thing. You guys are talking about the things and not worrying about competition, just leaning in to collaboration.
That's
And
right.
so your group is the epitome of that. Like, I'm doing it on a podcast, but you're not actually sitting next to the
Right.
10,000 designers,
Right.
right? When
Right.
you're together in your group,
Right.
you're next to them. You're in the
Right.
same chat with them,
Right.
But
Right.
it is that. It's that, like, just let's like let's all just help each other be better, right?
Yeah, it's really such that abundant mindset, and it really works. It
Mhm.
really, really works. And everybody on the chat is busy. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope, which means that when you're in that whole frame of mind of sharing and
Yeah.
giving,
Yeah.
we all grow from it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
all grow from it.
Can
I
you
always
think of
say at the end of each event, I'm sorry to
No, go
interrupt
ahead.
you,
No, go
but one
ahead.
of the things I always say is like, and it just this like depicts it so well when you create a larger pie, we all get a bigger slice.
Yeah.
So if we create just this whole big world for us, the opportunities and the greatness, and it's just going to become bigger and bigger for all of us.
Yeah. 100%. 100. We're going to talk about the planet before we get to the show. I think we can all see that the materials we use in this industry, the processes in this industry, and the life cycle of those products, they're having a negative impact on the people and the planet. And I think we could probably agree that we can and we should work together in some way to improve that. And we do know from this podcast that we are better together, aren't we? Look at the community that we've created together. Look at the things that we've achieved because we were together. So I want to tell you about an opportunity. It's called Interior Design Declares. The United Kingdom has started the very first country group chapter of Interior Design Declares, and they are making a call to action. They are asking the USA and any other country that you might be listening from to join together and start a country chapter in your country. Interior Design Declares is a voluntary pledge that you make to improve and learn together to lower the impact that this industry is having on the planet. It is a network of designers, suppliers, and educators all working toward the same goal. And guess what? They don't care where you are personally or professionally in the journey. They just know you have to start somewhere, and why not with them? So, this is a call to you. If it resonates with you, if this is something you have wanted to get involved in, but you weren't sure how or where to do it, Interior Design Declares needs 5 people from each country to be a co founder volunteer. And then once they have that, they will guide you on how to run the group, how to share the learnings, and how to inspire and campaign together to lead your country and the industry to do better, to be better. Now, if you are interested, you can learn more about the UK group at interiordesigndeclares.co.uk. And if you're even just a tiny bit interested in wondering what it would mean to start a chapter in your country, you don't have to worry about being obligated. Just interested is all you need to be. If that's you, drop an email to info@interiordesignDeclares.co.uk and put in the subject line, Luann sent me. Okay, so info@interiordesignDeclares.co.uk, and we will also put these links in the show notes. So you got a little interest, take a little step, take a little action, make a big change. Percent. Can you think of, Margalit, any insight, or it could have come from a chat where you were back and forth or watching other designers in the chat, and you think where somebody solved a problem for somebody, or something that you can think of maybe that you took to your own business with all your experience, you still learned a tactic or an idea from something within the group?
Yeah,
Anything
I could
come to
tell you,
mind?
definitely, definitely things on constant basis. And this is someone who I've been working for a long time, but recently, actually, this is a technical thing, but I was so appreciated it. Recently, I spoke in an event in November, and I was on a panel with someone who's very, very experienced and who's working longer than me. And somebody asked a question about how do you do your contracts.
Mm,
And she responded, and I loved her language, and I actually use it today. Before at the contract stage, people will hold you to what you say. And she always tells them, this is not a contract, this is an agreement. Once we get past the agreement, then we'll go into the contract stage. So I've taken that word agreement and I've used it a lot where don't hold me to it. We're not like signing the dotted line when they're let's say they're not ready for a
right,
contract.
right.
But we want to agree that we're going to meet or we're going to create a nice presentation, whatever it may be. The word agreement, I found it to be very, very helpful. And I learned this just recently for someone, someone like me who's been working for 26 years. It really, really helped me a lot. And like, as soon as I say the word agreement, people are like, they accept it and they settle. And I definitely use it a lot. And you'd be surprised also, a lot of the newer young designers, maybe they don't have the confidence in their work as much as we do because it comes so natural to us. We're doing it for so long. But I find when it comes to pricing, I find them to be pretty good. Like you're no one's going to bother me for if I'm there if I'm not getting paid for it. So my value has to be met. Now it could be they're just saying the words and they don't
Okay,
know
okay.
if it's going to really come through with when they're out there in the field.
Mm-hmm.
But when you hear a lot of people talking about it, especially young people, and you're right, they probably just learned this. They probably went to a great, school for design, and that's what they've been taught, and that's what they've been told. And
Yeah,
maybe it's a very good reminder for so many of us that sometimes, like, underprice ourselves or throw in the quick email. It doesn't matter. It's off the books and it's off the clock. I could just send an email or I'll just answer this little text
right.
or I'll just drive across town and just check that the tiles are coming in the right color. But we have to remind ourselves, no, you gotta charge for everything. And even if it's new because they just learned it in school, it's a reminder that we could all use. So we're constantly getting great information by everybody's different opinions
Yeah.
and feedback.
Well, I think that's what happens when you are part of a cohesive group that has, regular communication, whether you join IDS or ASID or whether it's our Exciting Windows members or your group, is you don't just hear it once like on a podcast. You're valuable, you should charge your worth, you need to raise your rates, or you need to you know what I not everybody every day should raise their rates, but everybody every day should actually bill the number of hours they worked,
Right.
right? Which is kind of really, if you did that, you probably wouldn't even have to raise your rates. You could probably get a $20,000 raise just by charging every darn hour you
That's
work, right?
right. Right.
And I just find that anybody, regardless of the industry, when you spend more time with people who do what you do, it's just little every day. Oh, that person did that thing. I could do that thing. Oh, they did it
Mm-hmm.
again. I could do it. Or I did it and I tried it and it didn't feel great and I didn't work. And then you can get, to your point, like, what's the language you use to describe that, right? It's like
Right. And then you
that
get like
sort of thing. Yes.
eight people that chime in, just like you said, the podcast is once. You get eight people that chime in and said, oh, I tried that. Oh, that worked. That worked. That didn't work. That didn't work for me either. So it's
Yeah.
a conversation and you're getting a lot more feedback than just a one-on-one conversation with a friend.
Yeah.
So it's very, very valuable, very, very valuable and very helpful.
Yeah. It's funny because I had a situation in the last couple of months where one chairman of the board mentioned a phase of the project as a feasibility study. Like, because we were debating how, like, her client is like, I need an idea of what this whole renovation is going to cost before,
Yes.
forget what your design fee is and what the furniture is and what the fixtures are. It's like, I need an idea of the whole thing before
Yes.
I pull a trigger and do any part of it. And one chairman of the board was talking about something, and she just said something in a passing, real quick. Well, in the feasibility study, I was like, whoa, 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 what's a feasibility study?
Phase, right?
Right. And then she was like, well, and I was like, so then I bring the information over to the next chairman of the board. I'm like, this is what we need. We need a feasibility study. We need a fee for this, a phase for that when you have a big project, right? And it's like, that's the example of the community. Now that one designer isn't in the same, isn't talking to the other designer, but they're both in my community. They're in my world, and I'm bringing the information around in a circle. You know what I
Right.
mean?
So I love that. And that's really what it is when you say that it's a community,
Yeah.
and we have each other's back. And I have to say, let's say somebody isn't on a design chat. So like, let's say they're going to hear our chat and they're going to hear our talk and they're going to be inspired. But when you find your people, find a community, find people who do what you do,
Yeah.
find people who get you, because it really will help you to empower
Yeah.
you, just give you that boost, the confident boost that you need to say, you know what, I can charge my worth, or
Yeah.
I do need to charge the hours that I'm not billing for, or whatever it may be. But
And
community is
because
a
you know
big
what?
part.
Everybody has different lanes that feel easy for them,
Hmm.
right? Somebody might feel like, oh, documenting my processes, what's so hard about that? I don't know that there's many people that think that's not hard, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Somebody else, whatever it is. And it's funny because whenever I do a Power Talk Friday event, I did an event last year in 2024 in Las Vegas, and there were 6 or 7 designers at it. It was a small group, but I learned about 6 months ago that those designers continue to meet every single month by Zoom. I'm telling you how often that happens.
See,
And
we need each
that's
other.
right.
We do. We need
'Cause
each
everybody's
other.
showing up, and I've got to strengthen this and you've got to strengthen that, and you're going to walk me through and push me and prod me and cajole me to get to the next level because that lane feels easy for you, right? But there's
Right.
seven people with 7 different superpowers, and at one point in every meeting, I'm sure somebody is the one helping the others get to the
Right.
next spot, the next
That's
inch,
right.
4 steps, you
Right. It's
know?
like support. It's like we all
Yeah.
these support groups for all different type of things in life, and like we need support.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what this is. And
I love it.
yeah, everybody finds their support system, however it may be. It might be the best friend, it might be the neighbor, it might be their spouse, it might be their mother, it might
Yeah.
be Luann, whatever it may be,
Might be Margalit.
whatever it is. But finding that support system is really what it's about.
So, not that anything needs to evolve or change with your group and what you're doing, but you are the idea girl. You are a visionary. I know that. And I guess I'm just curious. Do you have ideas or plans, whether you're
Ah,
able to this week, next month, or next year to execute? I'm not worried about that. I Listen to me. You're talking to a visionary. I
I
know I have
know.
20 ideas, and we're going to move on too. So
Right, I feel like you're my soul sister.
yes. So
I could feel you through the screen, and like
exactly.
the total. And my problem is, do I have ideas? Do I have ideas? Do I not have ideas? And
Exactly.
which one do I take? Where do I stop? Where do I rest? I don't even know. I'm one of those, like, I have never set an alarm clock in my life. I don't need to. Like, I had
No.
just wake up, and if it's early, like, okay, let's go. I have too many ideas, and where do we go? And let's get that work in because we want to be ready for work. And I'm just always thinking, and even on my weekends, like, I love a great Sunday where I just, fill it up. If I'm not busy with family and obligations
Yeah.
or joyful family opportunities, I'm always looking what my next great thing could
Yeah.
be. I'm always listening to like an inspiring podcast or reading a book on empowering people or a master class or whatever. But anyways, so when you talk about ideas, so first of all, like as I told you before I had my surgery, I do want to get more get together. I do want to create more get-togethers.
Right.
It doesn't have to be on such a grand scale. I would love to do
Is
it.
a grand
At
scale
one
what you do.
point,
I'd like
right?
to see you not do it in a grand scale. That would be
I was
funny.
thinking, like, at one point I said monthly. I said monthly is too much pressure. Exactly. Let me try, like, every
Once a
2 months or
quarter.
every three
Once a
months.
quarter.
Right, once a
Every
quarter.
3
Just
months.
that, exactly.
Yeah.
Bring in somebody to speak, and just we're just there for each other. There's just the feeling of just us women in the same industry being together in a room. I mean, you do this all the time. You go to events, you see what it feels like. We just feel like we're with our brothers and our sisters. It's
Yeah.
just it feels so supportive and fantastic. So I would love to do that. I When I put the plan out for like these great like inspirational conversations of the week, um, it's something that could just, if I would keep a record of it. Speaking of systems and how to organize it, is something that we could always fall back on and look back to.
Mhm.
And one of my real dreams is to do, when you mentioned the word retreat, I always wanted to imagine we all get away for 2 days. Like, what woman doesn't need that? Like,
Right.
besides, and then there's like where it's, you just have the some so many different things. It doesn't only have to be the talks on design. It's just like an
Right. It could
escape
just
where
be
we
a
could just,
wellness retreat,
a
actually a
wellness retreat
recharge for you guys.
infused with the design, because
Yes.
our in design is our language of choice.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're so much more than design. And I say this, and I know I said it at my last event, but when we acknowledge and realize the power that we have by making people happy in their spaces, whether it's a residential project, whether it's their business, whether it's a restaurant and someone needs to escape to, whether it's a hospital, and when the people come into this hospital, they feel so good being there. What we do is so much more than beauty. And when we
Hmm.
realize that power, and we use it in the right way, it's just such an amazing thing. So we could talk about so many different levels of our design world.
Yeah.
I happen to work a lot. My last few projects with schools with people with special needs,
Mm.
children, some adults. And I just got a message back from someone. I'm doing a job in Williamsburg now, and the lady said to me, "You don't even know the smile on this kid's face." She said, "I personally know that he has such a troubling issue at home. Besides his handicap, he has such a troubling home. And when he walks in and he sees this, what you did in the hallways, he smiles and he told us, this space makes me so happy," whenever, however he was able to say it.
Right.
So when I remind myself that every day, uh, the power of what we do, it is so powerful.
It's rippling out into the world.
Yeah. So if imagine a bunch of us women who do this on a daily basis. Can you imagine the walls will be shaking? We have so much power within us. How can we not share it and remind ourselves? It's really just we need to remind ourselves, because let's be honest.
Yes.
And you know this because you speak to so many designers. It's so stressful. Like, I'm talking here all fun and games and pretty and fluffy, but let's be real. The deadline. I hate the deadlines. I hate the pressure. I hate the stress and the spreadsheets, and what am I going to do? And I can't even tell you. The wallpaper disappeared. I picked a wallpaper for a job. The clients took 8 months till they decided they're ready to do it. They decided they're ready to do it. It's discontinued.
Oh,
Are you kidding
gosh.
me? Oh, and it's now the guy comes in and you're holding up the project. I can't put the details on the wall till the wallpaper's in first. Reselect. Now I had a full schedule. What am I reselecting? So I
Oh.
took time on my precious Sunday and I sat there for 2 hours looking through wallpapers. And then I got my team in on Monday and she checked it for the stock and we sent in the yardage. And then I had my bookkeeper create an invoice. Then I sent it to the client. And then he tells me the next day, "Oh, I have a friend who sells wallpaper." I'm like, "Are you kidding
Oh.
me? Why didn't you tell me before?" I said, "Next time when you have somebody who that you want to use, just let me know. I have no problem working with your people.
Right.
Just let me know, if as long as I know in advance.
Right,
But my
right.
point is that every project has some story somewhere along the way. Let's not lie here. It's stressful. It's tense, and people are spending more than they have, so they're stressed. Husbands and wives are arguing. The contractor walked down in the middle. The punch list is up to the sky. I'm not gonna fluff over it. It comes with a lot of stress.
Oh my
But
God. It's so true.
but imagine if we could talk about, really remind ourselves the beauty of what it is that we do.
Yeah.
And that's really what keeps us going, and that's what fuels us. So sometimes by just getting together with your friends and you hear all their sob stories and all their crazy stories,
Yeah.
it's just you have someone to laugh with, someone to
That's
share it
it.
with.
Right.
And
It's
then we're
like,
like,
yeah,
okay,
your world is just as wackadoodle as mine. Okay.
exactly. And then we're gonna move on and we're just gonna just enjoy sharing that.
It's funny because I said to somebody, I don't know, it was at a lunch and learn a couple of weeks ago or something here at Window Works. And I'm not joking. Like, literally, somebody could say to me, "I'll give you $5 million a year if, look, you got to go and do a certification course. You got to learn what the heck you're doing. But I'll
Mm.
give you $5 million every year for the next 10 years if you will become an interior designer. Take your transferable skills, go and get the final piece of it." And I'm like, not happening. Like, I legit, you're talking
That's
about
crazy. Right.
$25 million. I would not. There's
Right.
no way. It's,
Wow.
it is,
That's
and
very validating because you see what we do. You
oh,
see,
I know. That's the
I
thing.
always
I
say,
do see what you
you
do.
do. I say I do more therapy than I do design, without a doubt. I have to figure out why they want that. Were they missing something in childhood and they deprived, so they have this need now? Or this guy all of a sudden made a lot of money and he's successful. Or you have this egotistical person who's
To
saying, "No,
show
it's
it
all
off.
my ideas," and you're just here along the way. And each one has a different reason why they need what they need. So the
Right.
first thing you have to do is like tune in and tap into it. So we do therapy beyond, and sometimes like they're just unloading on me, and I have to be there for them. But you
Yeah.
know what? It's part of what we do, and maybe that's why we charge what we charge,
Yeah. Well,
because we
no.
work hard.
Everybody listening to this could literally double their rates and they might approach
Woohoo!
at what they're worth.
Yes.
And for me, I know all the therapy part is there and it's not underestimated. But when I think about, like you said, the spreadsheets, the details, the back orders, the change orders, keeping it all in line. And the reason I understand it is I know the details, what it carries to run a full house of complicated window treatments, let alone that's
Hmm.
one component
That's
of the
right.
home. It's like, what? No,
It's amazing. It's
no,
amazing
it
what we
is.
do.
It
But
is.
then when we stop, sometimes you need a break and stop. And imagine if you get together with people who are doing what you do and you remind yourself why we do what we do and look what
Yeah.
we create and look at the beauty of what we create. And you have to sometimes you have to step away. Sometimes in the middle of the day, I have to literally go outside just to get some fresh air
Yeah.
and take a break and a
Yeah.
breather and breathe in
Yeah.
deep and it's all going to be okay. And then you can go back in and do it.
Yeah.
And that's why when we talk about retreats, imagine a retreat where
Oh my
it's not
gosh.
just about the design, it's about the
Yeah.
feeling of what we do and what we create. So I do have big goals and I do see doing things with it, but life has to allow it. So like
Yes.
as
Everything in
and
its time and place.
right. And I
Everything in
always
its
feel
time and
like
place.
it has to be right.
Yep.
It has to
Yep.
be right. So it wasn't meant to be this winter. So
Mhm.
let's work on it for next year. It's just
Question for you, Margalit. I know that, and I don't know if it's everyone. I don't know if it's a said or an unsaid requirement, but I know that at least everybody I've met in the group is an Orthodox woman.
hmm
So is it like literally for Orthodox Jewish interior designers, or is that just a coincidence of the culture because who you are and what's important to you and what is attracted? So if somebody's listening and they're not Orthodox, is it like going to just be like, well, you could join, but you're probably not going to get it? Or no, that is part of the
right.
group. What
So
is,
thank you for asking that. I appreciate that.
yeah.
So it does happen to be that this group is a group of Orthodox Jewish women,
Hmm.
which was not a requirement and it wasn't intentional. It just happens to be that since I know she and I know her and you know him and he's my neighbor and she's my thing and she's my friend and we both worked on this project years ago, it just worked out that way. So
Yes.
it doesn't have to be. We did keep it uh, okay, we did keep it woman only, and I'll tell you why. I feel like we just like behave and we could let our hair down a little better. I think
Okay.
there's something to like, every once in a while we'll do like a girl joke or something, and
Yeah.
there's
And you
just
don't want
something
to
different.
worry.
I don't want to worry that somebody's on in here and we talk about, I don't know. Like I had the funniest story. There was once a designer, we were actually coming home from an event and she told us, and this was hysterical. She said, I mean, it was scary in the moment, but really so funny. She went down to a job and it was the middle of the winter. So they had one of those, how do they heat the homes in these the temporary
Like a space heater,
yeah,
like?
but it's not a space, but I'm drawing a blank and I feel so stupid because everybody's going to hear this. But basically, there's like that thing that at every job site, like down in the bottom in the basement, they have like that blows the heat, whatever. The it's not a
It's like
space heater, but
it's like a big version of a space heater for a
correct.
construction job.
Yes,
Okay,
and
so
as
every
soon as
designer listening knows what you mean.
no,
I
as
don't.
soon as we're done, the word's going to come to me.
Yeah,
That
and I
everybody. So
don't know it, but I can picture what you're talking about.
exactly. So everybody, I really know better. Anyway, she went down to the job site, and she was with the contractor and the homeowner and this and that, and she was talking and checking on the basement, and her skirt caught on
Went up.
fire.
Caught on fire. I
Caught on
thought you say
fire.
Marilyn Monroe went up in
Right,
the air.
right. No, it caught on fire. She started to scream. And thank goodness they were there. And her very orthodox client, rabbi looking man took his jacket off and literally wrapped her in it, threw her on the floor, went on top of her to get the flames out. He literally saved her life.
Wow.
But now, when we talk about it in hindsight, we were talking about it on a van on the way home from an event, and we were cracking up and laughing because at the end of the day, she was standing there with all these contracts and people around her in her underwear because her skirt melted off. It melted off, which was frightening and scary, and he saved her life. But at the end of the day, now because we were a group of women, we were didn't like, oh, now I know the jokes that came after. I can't even tell you. And how did you face the client after? And what did you do when you saw him and you're standing there in your underwear? And she said she was like embarrassed. She was purple and red, and she couldn't look at him for days. But then they just moved on. But because we're just women, we tend to have like that safe
Yeah.
space to do all our girly
Yeah.
jokes. But it's not intentional. We love everyone. I love to include everyone. My only thing is that you have to be a working designer
Yeah.
because so many of us put our blood, sweat, and tears to get to where we are today.
Mhm.
So we just need to have a shared conversation.
Yeah.
Naturally, some of us are going to be more seasoned than others, but it's not like a teaching experience. It's more of a shared experience.
That's
And
awesome.
that's what
Yeah.
it is.
Well, and because it is, so many, or maybe all of you at this point, I don't know the numbers, are Orthodox. You do have so many shared experiences in addition to the design. I mean,
Correct.
it's
Correct.
5, Fridays we're out,
That's right.
Saturdays we're out. Like it's no like, and
We most have large families.
most of you have large family. It
Yes.
blows my mind that I sit there and look at yourself and you're like, this is my daughter. I'm like, she looks like your sister. You're like,
Right.
she's my oldest and there's my youngest over there. I'm like, wait,
Right.
what?
But I love to break the stigma of it where
Yes.
people think like, whatever, like, yes, it doesn't always work for everyone. But like for instance, for me, like I married a long time, and my oldest is 36,
It's crazy, yeah.
and it worked. Does it work for everyone? No. But this one worked for me. Does it work for all my friends and my siblings? No. But to go out there and say, yes, I can have a career, and I can look beautiful, and I want to look beautiful, and I do care, and I don't just take care of my house and cook, even though I take care of my house and I cook, but I also love getting out there, and I love people, and I love my career, and I travel. And I think it's very important for people to know that we can be so much more than just the box that we think we have to stay in.
Yeah. Now it's you ladies are remarkable. Truly, you
Thank
are.
you. That's
I
so kind
always
of you.
feel like a slacker
Oh,
anytime I'm
no way.
hanging
You?
out with you
No
guys.
way.
I'm like, whoa. No, because like you know me, I like that's
Yeah.
it. I don't cook anymore. Christmas Eve,
Okay.
period. I'm like,
Right.
no, and you and all of you are like, nope, I gotta
Right.
make dinner 7 nights a week and this and that. And the other thing happens, it's just
I
like
know.
beyond my comprehension.
Everyone has their
Um,
things.
yeah,
Yes.
the way you guys show up and the way you personally
Thank
show up and
you.
lead the group, it's amazing. I just love
Thank
it.
you.
I think
Thank
it's
you.
awesome. So
Thank you.
here's the thing. Part of me is like, if someone is interested in learning more, should they reach out? Or are you like, yeah, it's kind of a word of mouth thing. We just kind of word of mouth to several thousand designers. I don't know how you feel about that.
Right. So it is a word of mouth thing, but one of the main requirement is that it's a WhatsApp group chat. So you got to have WhatsApp
Okay.
because it's quick, it's fast. Every once in a while, you get the voice notes, we get pictures, we get little emojis. It's just a lot. It's just fun. It's fast paced and it's quick. Most of us are busy during the day. There are people that do chat throughout the day, but it's mostly like we get answers like, in the evening or on weekends or early morning or something. But it's just great to have a community. People could reach out. You got to be a working designer, not somebody in school. And the goal and the dream is to have more get togethers in the future. And that's where there's room for expansion and for us all to meet each other and to interact and just enjoy and empower each other.
I love it. I love it. We'll put a link in the show notes because I'm sure I'm going to get the
Yes.
messages asking to learn more about it. But is there anything that I didn't bring up or I didn't ask you about, Margalit, that we should cover before I let you go? Because I just my big thing is just the awe I have for you and the way you run this group and the way it's just the community is so strong and so precious is the way I feel
Thank
every
you.
time I'm with you guys. It's like there's a preciousness to it that
Thank you for
yeah,
saying that.
it's
Thank
it's
you.
so true.
I think we covered, pretty much everything, but I could just like, to end it all, to make sure that the messaging got through. Um, our name itself is Designers with Intention. And I think about anybody who has a passion or career. We could all go through our lives and we could live our lives and go to work and do our jobs or take care of our family or do a routine or do our laundry. But if we infuse what we do with the right intention, it's a way to elevate it and take it to the next level. And here we are, a good example of people who could be competitors, but when we join together and we have the right frame of mind, we literally do it and we do take it to the next level.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm going to leave it right there, my friend. I really, really appreciate you. And I'm so glad that this world brought us together. Thank you for being
Thank
here
you. Same
today.
here. An honor and a pleasure to talk to you.
I am legit inspired by what Margalit has created with Designers with Intention and all of the mindset shift that made it all possible. I know it comes from her because I watched her in action and I've watched her talk with these women and be with them. The leadership and intention she brings to everything is remarkable, and they bring it back to her. They return it to her and to each other, right? The moment Margalit described it, driving by a project and wondering why she wasn't chosen. This is something every single one of us has felt. Legit, right? Think about it. I know I have. I know you have too, regardless of the industry and the occasion. But here's the thing, instead of leaning into competitiveness, Margalit leaned into collaboration. And that simple shift in thinking changed everything. It started with texting just 10 people to join a WhatsApp group. Now it's a movement of nearly 300 interior designers whose goal is to create unity and to empower each other. And I know it's real. I know it's genuine. I've experienced it with these ladies. And this resonates with me so much because we have a same experience with Exciting Windows. We welcome all window treatment businesses into our group, retailers, workrooms, installers, from solo run businesses to large managed businesses. At EW, we have 3 other window treatment members who are less than 40 minutes from WindowWorks in 3 directions. Vin and I know WindowWorks becomes stronger, more capable, more profitable by welcoming in, quote unquote, our competitors, because together we raise the industry for all of us. That starts right here in the dirty Jersey for us, right? So all of us, whether we are window treatment professionals or interior designers, we all have different styles, different strengths, different differentiators. The client who is attracted to Margalit and appreciates her bold, colorful style is going to find her. And the client who wants minimalistic and modern will find someone else in her group. And the extra secret sauce here is that when Margalit does run into a job that isn't right for her, because she knows the other women in her area, she can refer clients to them. They all can. Each of them does this. It's literally less me, and a whole lot more we. I promise you, there's room for all of us when we operate from abundance and generosity rather than scarcity and competitiveness. If you want to compete, which I know many of us do, compete against yourself. Commit to knowing your numbers. Commit to knowing, are you more profitable this year than last? Compete against yourself. Strive to do better than you personally did last month, last year. Not striving to do better than someone else. That's irrelevant, right? The big lesson here is find your community, whether it's Margalit's group, Designers with Intention, it might be IDS, Interior Design Society, it might be ASID, it might be Exciting Windows, it might be the WCAA. Any group of people who do what you do and understand your business, your challenges, and can help you be better because they've already been through it. That's the point. Having a support system makes all the difference in the world. If you're interested in learning more about Designers with Intention, like Margalit said, it's a WhatsApp group chat because it's quick and it's fast. Every once in a while, you get voice notes, pictures, emojis. They have fun. It's fast-paced and it's engaging. Most of the ladies are busy during the day, either with their business, their clients, and or their children. So the conversations happen in the evenings, the weekends, and early mornings. And as Margalit said, you do need to be a working interior designer because for them, this group is about shared experiences and support more so than ground up teaching. That's just the focus and the choice of that group. You have IDS and ASID and other places for ground up support, right? Find your people. Share generously. Choose abundance over competition. And never lose sight of what made you fall in love with this work in the first place. And speaking of evolution, Margalit mentioned my recent podcast announcement about the shift happening here at A Well-Designed Business and Window Treatments for Profit. If you missed that episode from April 25th, 2025, it explains how and why I'm evolving the format and what's coming next. So we'll link that in the show notes in case you missed it. Thank you so much, Margalit, for everything you do, for today's inspiring conversation, for the inspiring example that you live out there. I'm in awe every time I have the opportunity to collaborate with you. And thank you for listening. I appreciate you for showing up. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of Luann Nigara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or Luann University, go to luannnigara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to windowworksnj.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.